Hello and welcome to the first actual cooking video we are doing. What are we making today?
Apple crisp pie.
Not quite.
Apple crisp pudding.
There you go. Yes. So, little panda, what's the first thing we need to do? Do you know?
We need to get the graham crackers and I forget what this is called.
That's a mortar and pestle. This is the mortar and this is the pestle.
The mortar and the pestle, and then we open the wrapper.
The first thing we're going to do is turn on the oven so it can heat up while we're making it. So it will be all ready to put in when we have it done.
At what degrees?
The recipe says 350.
So,
Start. There you go. Okay, now that can heat up while we're making this.
now we open up the graham crackers. If I can.
Okay, how many graham crackers do we need?
7.
7? Okay, so how many are in the bag?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay,
So there are 2 extra.
and you know what? For this sort of thing, if we want to do the last 2, we can. Or you can eat the extra, one of the extra crackers. Either one.
We need to take those out. And then,
Or these are ones we're not cooking and ones we are cooking. Okay, we'll set those aside for the extras. Okay, so I'm gonna break them up in little pieces that will just fit in here. Just a few crackers at a time. Okay, let's go ahead and put those in. Okay. You wanna do that part? Push them down to little crumbs. I'll hold it for you. I know what I forgot. Oh dear, oh dear.
Mommy's really cleaning up.
Okay, so the table's all clean, so really you just have to put it back in the, no, I'm just gonna pick them up this way right now.
These are already crushed.
Yep, you put them in there.
I'll do it like,
That was all my fault.
bad way.
Yeah, bad way. That's why I said not to do it that way. Okay, no, put it back up on the table. Okay, now we can continue on here.
We're gonna set those aside.
So while you're doing that, I'm going to start melting the butter. So we need a 1/4 cup of butter, which is 1/2 of a stick. So I'm just going to cut it in half here. Put half this butter in the pan.
It's full.
Set it to melt.
Let's put those 2 back. Also.
You never claimed to be professionals, did we? another way that you could do this, if you don't want to be sitting here just playing with the mortar and pestle, or if you don't have a mortar and pestle, is you can put the graham crackers in a Ziploc bag and then run over them with a rolling pin. That also works. Now we need to add flour, nuts, and sugar. So we need a cup of chopped nuts. Here's the measuring, 1 cup measuring cup.
To be exactly full for the nuts.
There's more room in there.
And then
More room. Another nut in there. We want to be really nutty. Be nutty.
And then we want to dump it on the cutting.
Why don't we do some at a time? We'll keep them in reserve over here. We'll only get as many as will fit under there. So what is this tool? What is it?
I forgot.
It's a fruit chopper. What could we have done if we didn't have a fruit chopper?
Sliced it.
With what?
A knife.
Yeah, we could just cut them up with a knife. Okay, how are we looking there? You don't want to flour. That looks pretty good. Got some renegades. Okay. Aside for the moment.
The ones we've already used, we separate them from the ones we have used.
So now we need a tablespoon of white flour. So you can use this one to flatten it, to level it off. Don't just throw it around. Okay, you're shaking it down some. Now level it off with the knife. With the knife. Okay, good. Oh. Okay, good enough. Put it in now. What else do we need to put in there? We've got the graham crackers, the flour, the nuts, sugars. How much sugar do we need?
Half a cup and a fourth of a cup.
Half a cup of white sugar,
Fourth.
quarter cup of white sugar, and a half a cup of brown sugar. Okay, so here's a quarter cup. Good enough. Now, do you know how to measure brown sugar? Brown sugar we measure by packing. Put it down in there and squeeze it against the side of the container. And then we level it off. Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Well,
Yep. That's how you know it was packed well enough. It keeps its shape. Okay, and now what? Mix them all together. Okay, so we need a spoon.
We take the bowl and then we mix it.
Okay, so is it not clean? Oh, no, not clean.
Not clean.
This one's clean.
Clean.
Make sure you keep it all in the bowl. It's been a while since I made this.
Yeah, it has been a while since we made this last.
Yes. I'm thinking that last time I just mixed everything in the final bowl and didn't use the secondary bowl.
Escape graham cracker.
Okay, so you know what? I know what I'm doing wrong here. I know why this is not seeming familiar. We're going to set this aside. Okay, we can finish mixing it up later because we need to cut up the apples. So I'm used to starting with the apples and then making the topping. And then it all goes in the big container when it's all done. Okay. So. Oh, wait. I need to make sure this is going to stick.
You need to water the rubber part and then put it on so it doesn't move.
Okay, gotta make sure we don't put it on the gap between the leaves of the table. To core and slice the apples. I suppose you don't have to take the stems out. I cut them in half and then into quarters, and then it's much easier to core them because I don't have a special corer. Lots of other specialized tools, but not an apple corer.
Compost in the good part.
You can separate them out.
Okay, this is the compost. This is the food.
Okay. Okay. Now, little Panda, I'm going to take the compost here and go put it in our bin.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you want to just put it in a bowl and we can put it in the bin later when we clean up?
Yeah.
Okay. Get a bowl. So if you're okay with having your kids use knives, be sure to give them sharp knives because dull knives will just cause problems. They'll have to force their way through the material they're cutting and could harm themselves. So if you give them knives, be sure that they are actually sharp knives.
And be sure you have a knife sharpener if you have knives. And be sure to make sure your kids say thank you when you give them them.
Yes. So how does that work?
You give them like this, so the top is facing yes.
So the blade is away from your skin, yep, and you give it handle first, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so let's turn. So thank you.
You're welcome.
There you go, you need it now.
Thank you.
So why do we say thank you?
Because it's nice to do it.
It's more than just being polite. It lets me know that you have a good handle on the knife and it's safe for me to let go of it.
Yes.
We're slicing the apples today, but really you could just chunk them up. That also works.
If your apple slice is too thick, make sure to slice it in half if it's double the size. Like if it's that thick, slice it in half.
Put it in. Okay, now we have the apples all chopped up.
Yes.
Our butter is melted. Okay, so next up, we are going to add flavorings. What do we got for flavorings? Oh, our spices. So we need a dash of salt. Okay, so, oh, you already put the salt in? Okay, when I paused it. Okay. So now we need, so you just put in a dash, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all it called for. Okay. And now we need half a teaspoon of cinnamon and half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Oh, when you got the nutmeg, that's whole nutmeg. We need the powdered nutmeg. So you go ahead and put in a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. That's good.
It almost kept its shape.
So it's much easier to get a half a teaspoon of powder than it is half a teaspoon of the nut itself. A little more. That's good. Okay. And we don't have any orange rind, so we're just gonna skip it.
Yeah.
Okay, so gently mix that up without it spilling out of the bowl. Okay, and now we're going to, and what are we going to do? So we're going to dump this on top of the apples. Mix it all up with a spoon. Stir it all up so that all the apples are coated. Fairly evenly distributed. Is there more on one side of the bowl than another? going to get the melted butter.
And then pour it.
Yeah, we're going to pour it on top.
Like it is shown.
It's been done for so long and it's started to get cool again. Because I forgot the order that I usually do things in. Okay, give it another good mix. Have everything in there? Yep, well, looks like we have it all in there, so now it's time to put it in the oven. Do you want to put it in the oven or shall I?
I will.
You will? Okay.
Can you take the rack out?
Just stick it in the oven. Very good. And now it needs to bake for 45 minutes. Very good. Okay. And now, while we're waiting for that to bake, let's clean up our mess because we have a big mess here now, don't we? Okay, clean up time. And now that we're all cleaned up and the pudding is in the oven and we need to wait for it to finish baking, we will pause here and we'll be back when it's time to take it out of the oven. See you soon. So we are back, less than a minute on the oven. So it smells delicious and we can't wait to try it.
Yes.
So as soon as the oven goes off, we will pull it out of the oven and show you what it looks like. I'd love to share it with you, but I haven't figured out how to transmit taste and smell through the camera yet.
So, Segwyne, what are we gonna do next?
You mean for the next video? Or next while we wait for the pudding?
Next round we wait for the pudding.
Why don't we count down?
5,
4, 3,
2,
1.
You can take it out.
Okay. Always wear your hot mitts. Always. Yum yum.
I can't wait to show you. So it needs to cool.
It does. But you can see here what it looks like. If we had some vanilla ice cream, it might be really tempting to just serve it up now with the ice cream, but I don't have any ice cream right now. And not everybody's home, and it wouldn't really be fair for us to eat it all and not share it with those who aren't home right now, because some people still have to work because they're considered essential.
Yeah. We'll just have it cool while my dad comes home.
And then we'll have it for snack with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope if any of you are professional cooks, I hope we didn't make you cringe too much as we fumble through here. So we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, be careful when you slice things, so you don't cut off your fingers.
Yes, we don't want to cut off any fingers.
You should make sure you have a rolling pin and a mortar and a pestle before you.
What? You don't need both of them.
Or a mortar and a pestle before you start making apple putty.
Don't crush that.
Or if a kid just like was about to fall, put them under their butt. That would crush them.
Okay.